God sends the church on an unchanging mission into an ever-changing world. Like the men of Issachar, Christian leaders must discern their times if the church is to faithfully live out her calling. Demographic data is just one tool to identify opportunities and challenges that we might otherwise overlook. I'll point out 7 implications of current demographic developments for the mission of the church. Implication 1. Pioneer evangelism, discipleship, and church planting remain urgent tasks. By some estimates, 1 in 4 people in the world today remain without a viable, culturally relevant gospel witness in their immediate community. Just consider the world's 2 billion Muslims, most of whom live in places where there is minimal gospel witness. The Great Commission in Matthew 28 compels us to continue to bring the gospel to every person and to establish communities of disciples in every locale. Implication 2. Not merely more churches, but more transformational churches are needed. If churches are to be instruments of God's mission in the world today, they must be experiencing and living out the transformative power of the gospel. Jesus taught in the Sermon on the Mount that they are to have salt and light influence in their communities and beyond. Of the world's 2.6 billion Christians, vast numbers of them have yet to experience that transforming power. Thus, church renewal and the planting of new churches that give fresh expression to the gospel are greatly needed. Implication 3. International partnership in mission is more imperative than ever. Not only do the majority of Christians now live in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, but these nations are also sending nearly half of all international missionaries. Thus, collaboration in global mission is essential. The Apostle Paul's mission teams were composed of diverse believers from various churches. Also, New Testament churches shared resources in works of compassion and in the advance of the gospel. We need to follow these biblical examples. Implication 4. Mission strategies must be expanded in light of human migration. The biblical testimony is clear that throughout history, God has sovereignly superintended the movement of individuals and peoples for his purposes. This is no less true today. Since 1990, the number of people living outside their country of origin has more than doubled, now is over 280 million people. They're refugees, students, business sojourners, migrant workers, and others. They represent new opportunities for gospel witness and service. People from restricted or unreached lands have come to live in places where they are more easily reached with the gospel. Conversely, migrants are often Christians moving to places of spiritual need where they can share the gospel and reinvigorate existing churches. Implication 5. Globalization is changing the way we must think about culture and missions. With only rare exceptions, globalization has caused the boundaries between cultures to become more fluid and porous than ever. It has intensified contact and interconnectedness of diverse cultures, mutually influencing one another. This too presents new opportunities, lowering cultural barriers for gospel witness. Implication 6. Globalization forces us to redefine the task of contextualization. In light of such rapid culture change, contextualization today must focus less on preserving traditional culture or merely on evangelism, and focus more on discerning what it means to live as faithful disciples of Jesus Christ in the midst of such change and powerful global influences. Implication 7. Mission must address the challenges of serving in a world engulfed in crises. We minister in a fallen world experiencing unprecedented suffering and risk. Consider, for example, the current refugee crisis or the devastating impact of climate change. Globally, human trafficking ranks second only to financial crime. Despite a growing middle class, 700 million people live on less than $2.15 a day. The love of Christ compels us to respond with compassion and, where possible, to address the sources of human suffering. Only then can the church bear witness to God's love with integrity and credibility.